Welcome everybody to the BnB Unplugging Central Coast Rugby Podcast. Each week, Berner and Barthy will cover a range of topics and bring you the latest news from the Central Coast Rugby competition. Good chat, good footy, good fun. Take it away, boys.
Well, thanks, Thomo, and welcome everyone back to the BnB Unplugging Central Coast Rugby Podcast. Back for week 3, and this is about the point last week where we said, excuse me, we were going really well with the tech stuff, and Thomo again has let us down. So as we're saying this, we're always very cautious that we're obviously confident that the technical issues are fixed, but maybe they're not. I don't know anymore. So, but we can assure you that Thomo has received a couple of stern. We've had a couple of stern meetings with Thomo.
3 strikes and you're out.
We're up to 2 already in the season.
Yeah,
and it's not good. However many weeks we are out from the season start. So, but anyway, we're going to move on from that. Hopefully, much better quality this week.
Fingers crossed.
Barthy, how was your week?
Mate, my week has been really good. Other than the shock and disappointment of the quality of the imagery and audio we put out last week.
I think what made it better was it was so confident that it was going to be a good episode.
Oh, we're talking rubbish. We were talking rubbish too, saying, how good's this? Yeah, look at us, we're going so good.
And as we're editing like this, is horrible.
Nothing.
Anyway, you got past that. You got onto the weekend.
I did, mate. And you let
my hair down.
Yeah, I let my hair down. Went to a wedding. A former Central Coast great. For those older listeners, Ronnie Miles, Paul Miles, got married, and it's with great joy I remind people who Ronnie Miles is. Ronnie Miles scored the try in extra time, the 1994 grand final, when Terry Eagle Trojans beat the Avoca Beach Sharks in extra time, courtesy of Captain Adam Lyle. Did all the work. Drew in 3 or 4 players and out wide to Ronnie on the left-hand wing, and over he went in the corner, and mate, it was one of the great days.
I was 3 years old. Remember it like it was yesterday.
So yeah, Ronnie got married, and it was just great.
Good time.
Weddings are good.
It was. I do want to remind all listeners that after you have such a big wedding, the brain, the mouth, everything doesn't function as well a couple of days after. So just bear with Barthy. It might be those glitches you saw last week. It might be the exact same thing, but it's actually acting out in real life. Is what we've noticed from the warm up.
Mate, with a damaged brain from all the belting and brain injuries you got. Yeah, brain injuries didn't exist back in my day.
No, they didn't. You just get back up and play. Isn't it crazy how far it's come? Like just the culture around. Even I was watching a bit of Super Rugby on the weekend, and the culture around, for example, if a ball's knocked down or something, how the players react, or if someone's knocked out now, how a player reacts. Whereas before, it was obviously none of that. Like a rule change or a bit of awareness or something just changes how people completely perceive things.
Well, the last thing I'd want to be is serious on this thing, but it's bloody important that we implement what we learn, though, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like it's just the way the game's gone, and I unfortunately I'll have to quote rugby league and Phil Gould is that some blokes need to be saved from themselves.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and it's really important that we do have these protocols in place, which is great. But I've got no idea why that got serious, because I didn't receive a head knock on Saturday, but I've got a blurry memory of the day anyway, so I'm not sure what happened there. But anyway, it was great. It was great. So congratulations, Ronnie and Viv. It was a great day.
Good wedding. Good stuff. Just back on the Super Rugby thing, kicked off a couple of weekends ago.
Yep.
Obviously, everybody knew about that because Central Coast Rugby, Australian Rugby is amazing at promoting everything.
Oh, mate. Can I just cut you off there and just... Because that soapbox and I can stand on the bloody thing.
I'm just throwing out bait here.
Mate, do you know I was up in Armidale, a good country rugby town, and I went to a variety of bars and pubs,
establishments,
and I purposely made a point of going to the sponsors of the rugby teams to watch the Woutersz play. I ended up watching the game on my phone, sitting in a pub. It wasn't anywhere. It wasn't even the rugby clubs. I'm standing at the bar. They got their jersey of the club they're sponsoring, the team they're sponsoring, and there's not even a Super Rugby in the rugby pub. Now I don't know whether that's got to do with Stan Sport and like licensing and all that sort of stuff. But mate, Come on. You know what I mean?
But even if they are with Stan Sport, they've still got a responsibility to try and get and infiltrate people to want to have it.
Yeah.
Do you know, like if you're there with, maybe it is a bit of a licensing thing, but if you got 20 of your mates that are going to the pub and they want to watch the rugby and they're going to go there for the rugby, you're going to get some sort of license for it, aren't you? Like whatever the account is that you got to get for a pub or different licensing, but you're going to get that if you're going to bring people there, and people just aren't watching it. And that's the reality of it is they're not watching it. I actually watched it on the couple of games in the weekend, and it was good. Like, it was good to see it back, but it's obviously got a long way to go. But you can sort of still see, New Zealand's still class above. But for me personally, Western Force getting a win, which is massive.
They're your team.
Yeah, they're my team, and they've been shit since they've ever started. So it was nice for them to come up and and obviously go through everything they've done. Everything they went through with the support and what they were growing, and obviously success. They tasted very, very limited success, but now they're sort of starting to get a bit of a roll and a lot of positive things that they're doing in Perth. So, it was good for those boys to get it.
And interestingly too, it's becoming the club of choice. You look at Isaac Rodder, going back to join the force, and there's a few others. Mate,
they don't have stars. That's the other thing, is they don't have really any stars in that team. But when you look at it, like Standard, like the number 6 is just a weapon. And he was like, he carried them through whatever the comp was below Super Rugby they were playing in. They were playing in some sort of
rapid rugby.
Yeah. So they were playing in that. And that's pretty much that same team that sort of come through. They got a couple of juniors that come through. The 10's a young fella, and he was absolute weapon, not afraid to take anybody on, just gets the ball, and if he's got to run it, he'll just charge straight back at the line. Just that really fearless sort of rugby. So that was good to see them. But the other one watching, and all the hype was around Roger Tuivasa-Sheck sort of transitioning back to rugby. And did you see any highlights or anything on him?
No, I was
You're inebriated.
I was at a wedding.
You've just so they played Blues against Hurricanes. Hurricanes came back at the end and just snatched it. But Tuiva, like I think watching him play league and then going to transition to rugby. Every time you see that, there's always a bit of a grace period where they take a while to sort of get going. Or you can forgive them for particular things. They might run the wrong line. But he was just the player that they just looked to for. He'd just get the ball and he'd just be like, no, I'm charging the line here. Yeah. And he just picked the right option so many times. And, you hate to say an offload is the Sonny Bill thing, but you just watch him and you're like, you've got that grace of Sonny Bill every time that you hit the line, you're going to get an offload. Every single time he was so good. And it's, he's playing 12, which is quite a difficult position in rugby. You can't really, the way that New Zealand rugby's playing as well, you can't really hide there or anything like that.
I don't think, maybe he's been unshackled.
Yeah.
He obviously, they lured him into the league from the Blues originally, and a lot of complementary skills and development in league, and bring those back into rugby whilst he's still sort of fit, understands the game, and look out, exciting prospect.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they actually play the Australian teams, but they've got a Fijian team in there, and I think it's I don't know what the other team was. I couldn't remember. There's a Pacifica team. I don't know if it's
Mana Pacifica.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
Those poor buggers have they've all got COVID. They haven't played for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I saw that, but I wasn't sure if that was because of what's something's happening in the country, or I wasn't.
No, they're all in New Zealand. It was part of the Kiwi comp.
Yeah, okay.
But, anyway, mate, it won't be long till we have a Central Coast side in the Super Rugby.
Yeah, well, man.
Might talk about your jumper. What do you got there?
A little bit better. Yeah, well, what I thought was I was doing a bit of a throw out the other day, and I've got 2 whole drawers just full of old rugby clothes. I think I'm never going to wear any of this stuff again, but I didn't really want to throw it out.
Is that because you, A, can't fit them in anymore?
That's A.
There's no B.
Might be B. Mainly A. Heavy A.
Yeah. Or just daggy. Daggy jerseys are almost cool.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because there's ones that I would never wear, like I wouldn't even wear to training, now I'd wear them.
Yeah,
because it gets to that sort of vintage point sort of thing. But I think after you sort of you just collect club jerseys that you do around, like they might give them to you at the end of the year or whatever it is. And there's also training jerseys and all that sort of gear, and a lot of the stuff you just wouldn't wear anymore. Like, it was good for that year, but you wouldn't wear a training squad 2015 or something like that. You just wouldn't wear it around as much. So, but it did get me thinking that there's some jerseys that I just loved, and I don't know when they were from or anything. And this is one that you probably know more about it, because my memory about this whole thing's shocking. But long story short, actually, and you can go short story long. Get
stuff.
But you asked me to play a game against the Australian Army.
Correct, I did.
In whatever year it was, and this was
It's on your jumper, mate. 2012.
It was on the 6th of May 2012, and it was the Central Coast Invitational team versus the Army.
That's it.
Samurai Rugby is a sponsor. And that was basically played against them, I think. And this was the second year in a row that we did it.
Yeah.
I'll let you elaborate a little bit more.
Well, it's actually, I alluded to this the other day. I'm going to just read you a little bit of an article that was put out about it. And this, one of the guy we talk about, Eric Tweeddale, who's he just passed away recently. I think he was a patron of Woutersz, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Him and Jib Phipps.
Yeah. So on a picturesque Sunday down at the Haven at Terrigal, the Central Coast Invitational side took on the Australian Army in their second annual clash. The Central Coast team were presented with their jerseys by Eric Tweeddale, a Central Coast resident and Australia's second oldest Wallaby. At 91 years old, Eric offered the Central Coast players some timely advice about the importance of the love of the game. A large crowd was on hand to watch a brilliant display of running rugby by both teams. In a free-flowing match, the Central Coast dictated and dominated many facets of the game. This in itself is a testament to the players' fitness, toughness, considering they had all played for their clubs the previous day.
Yeah, he did play on the Saturday.
Central Coast side was led brilliantly once again by Brett Cunningham in his second appearance for the Invitational side. The Central Coast Invitational side eventually came away with the honours in what was a highly entertaining match, 48 points to 36.
Jesus.
And you have no memory of the game.
48 to 36.
Yeah. Try scorers, Central Coast, 48 points. Actually, I'll go to the try scorers in a sec. I'll read you the team, see if that twigs your memory.
All right.
The front row was Kevin McNamara from Watervale. This is back in the day, so players may have moved around. Hooker and captain, Brett Cunningham from Marimba. Well, actually, from the Razorbacks. But they were known as Marimba back then. Prop, Shannon Bevan. The second rowers were Luke Henning from Gosford and Phil Hurd from Terrigal. The back row was Ryan Metcalf from Terrigal, Brad Sheridan from Marimba, and Emil Thomas from Avoca Beach. Mate, how good a back row is that? That's a bloody good back row. The halfback was Ryan Atkins from Terrigal. The 5'8" was Mitch Graham from Avoca Beach. On the wings was Josh McGlynn from Gosford and Guy Schofield from Terrigal. The centres were Tim Hill from Gosford and Brenton Law from North Lakes. And the fullback was Matt Maloney from Avoca Beach.
It's a solid team.
It's a bloody good side, isn't it? And the bench, Sam Carney from Terrigal, Zach Johnson from Terrigal, Mitch Cornell from Gosford, Kane Burns from Woolwee. Jeez, we're getting short on the bench, aren't we? Mitch Hyde from Woolwee, Adam Carlisle from Gosford, and Sam Puckett from Terrigal. Manager was John Kenny. Physio was John Razuka. And the best thing about this, if he hears this, he would be filthy at it. Waterboy, noted, Brett Marchant. So, and then referees, David Hall, and assisted by Brad O'Hara and Ken Goss. And the score was 48 points to 36. Try score was a Ryan Metcalf bagged a double. Mitch Graham, Josh McGlynn, Guy Schofield, Matt Maloney, Sam Puckett scored tries, and also did one Kane Burns. Try scorers.
I remember all 4 tries I scored in my career.
Don't remember that one?
I don't remember that one. That could have been number 5.
And 3 conversions, one by Tim Hill and 1 conversion by Matt Maloney. So there we go. That's the jersey you're wearing. Turning back time.
That would have been an incredibly entertaining game, but that's what I also got to chip you on that one. The year before, I've got the jersey for that one. Might wear it next week. Also might not because of option A that you brought up before. A little bit tighter. It's got that real duck shit green colour to it. I looked at that one and the number 7 was on there.
Yeah.
And then I looked at this one and the number 19 was on there. So
Yeah.
I thought what had happened in that year for me to sort of go from a 7 to a 19, but then you read out that back row and I thought probably fair
It's not a bad
It's
back row,
probably
is
fair
it?
enough, isn't it?
But what a side.
Incredible.
And can I just to throw back to when we spoke about the representative teams and that sort of stuff. Now it's easier to get an invitational team for like a one-off and when they don't have to travel anywhere, they're staying on the Central Coast. But bugger me, that's a bloody good rugby side.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's a very good rugby side.
You reading that out just puts a smile because I'm like, oh, that was that player and that was it. And like some of them are still playing today, but still some of them are at the, Emil, I say he's at the end of his career. He's been at the end of his career and he's been playing 15 years.
I think Odie was probably about 38 in that day.
But it's so good to, I suppose, relive those sort of things. And that's what I thought about these jerseys and going through them and those memories that they had. Like I've got an old school Woy one that I remember. They were old jerseys. Would have been about 2008, 2009. And we're at, I think it was like Edelon Bowling Club or something like that. And they were auctioning them off. Yeah. And they were old jerseys then. So they were like old third grade or first grade jerseys then from a couple of years. And they were just trying to get rid of them. So it would have been like a 2005 jersey or something. And just sort of getting that, we didn't really care about them so much. I was like, I really want the number 6. But now I've got it. I'm like, that's a piece of history. Like someone's worn this jersey. It might have been a couple of players throughout the year, but that's that piece of history for that time in the club. And even for this, jersey here, like, it was worn once, played in once, but that's a story behind it and everything that came with that day. Like I remember it was either that one or the year before was Mother's Day. So it was a huge day at the Haven. Even people that weren't there to watch the game, it was Mother's Day. So obviously the Haven's going to be, packed. Yeah. So the atmosphere of playing at the Haven in that sort of thing, because believe it or not, Woy and Terrigal usually didn't get a massive crowd. So playing in front of that kind of atmosphere was really cool. And that's what, and even playing against the Army, they were like, I remember like warming up against them and just going like, just looking at him, I don't know what year it was, but just like, how am I going to play rugby? Like almost how am I going to play rugby against these guys? Because you don't play against people with that physique on the coast, respectfully.
Well, who their assistant coach was, who started his coaching career there, was Matt Cobain, the former Wallaby.
Yeah, right.
And so he was helping out the defence side, the Army side, and now I think he's assistant maybe at Melbourne, I think. Anyway, he's coaching now at Central Coast. That's Super Rugby level. But anyway, yeah, I like it. It's a good jersey too.
Well, I'll try and wear. I'll go for a couple of runs this week, but I might try and wear the other one in next week if possible. But it's obviously it's an improvement on the colour and the fabric as well. But also want to throw it out there for other people. I think this might be a bit of our giveaway this week, and I really want to see other people's wardrobes in terms of what jerseys they've got. Because if you dig to the bottom of yours, you'd have an old, like if you play for Carrington, have an old Carrington jersey, or you might have something that's it might be an old touring jersey. I know I've got Warwick goes to Carr every year. This ugly gargoyle jersey because they stole a gargoyle statue one year, so now we go there as the Warwick Gargoyles. So those sorts of jerseys, and there's always a story behind it. I think that's what's really cool, and there's not usually a huge story behind a lot of clothes that we wear, but there's always a story behind this, and there's always it's a lot of. When you wear your jersey on the weekends, a lot of blood, sweat and tears you put into that jersey for that club. And I think it's a really cool thing. So I want to and I'm going to upload a couple of mine as well. And I think you should, if you haven't given away all your stuff yet.
Gave away a lot of mine when I was coaching and those sorts of things. Because it was just something you did. It wasn't I used to love sharing the jerseys, and I had some wonderfully ugly jerseys I got when I was overseas in a variety of places, and one was like brown and gold. They were the colours, but you take them down. I just handed them out to the players who wanted them and that sort of stuff. And I actually got a lot of joy from seeing the players I'm coaching just running around in the different jerseys and that. I really love it. I think it's a great part of the game. But
that's what you might have people that still have jerseys or a similar thing to that of other people have handed down jerseys, and you you've got this jersey from this weird club that you played for, and I think the story behind them is really important. So,
well, I'll bring one in next week if I can find it. I'll show it's pretty impressive. It's pretty good.
The last story we'll tell on it, Nick Garnet from Meyer Rugby, his last game, he snapped his leg in the semi-final against Terrigal in 2018. And so he obviously wore his jersey to the hospital and gave it back to me, and it was my job to take it to training, and I held on to it. So I've got the number 2 jersey. We've washed it, and then for his 30th birthday, we got it framed and gave it to him. So every time he wants to play rugby again, he's got the jersey that made him break his leg, which is a nice little memento and just a memory to have in his house that he probably shouldn't go back to rugby. But I think it's those stories that a jersey can have. So I'll throw it out to everyone on the socials that this week get a photo of your jersey and tag us at whatever our tag is now, BnB, Unplugging Central Coast Rugby. You'll know what it is because you're listening to the show. But tag us, and there'll be a prize coming. Barthy, what's the prize?
Prizes will be Well, it could be any of the following: a cooler bag, a beer cooler, a bottle opener. What else we got? Something else I can't remember. I just ordered them. I should remember.
That's what I'm trying to do. You've just done the order. You will get a prize.
We'll give you some stuff.
But more than that, just sharing that story, I reckon that's a really good thing to throw around the clubs.
Yeah.
And just saying is, I think we can flood a lot of the stuff of, flood our socials with what we're doing with the jersey. I think it's a really big part, and there is a lot of history there that when you finish, not just a rugby career, when you finish a sporting career, you finish it with the jerseys, and it's the jerseys that make it so special, because you'll pull it out and go, that's the jersey from that time. Or even I've got an old Western Force one that was the jersey I always wore to training. Like that was my favorite jersey I put on every Tuesday and Thursday night. And it's those sorts of ones as well. So
even if you're listening to us and your pop or grandpa or uncle or someone played somewhere, tag us and we'll put it through our socials. It'd be good.
I've got a really good one as well for Hornsby. My partner's granddad played for Hornsby in their first year, and her dad played for Hornsby as well, and in the earlier days, and he found a Hornsby cap, like one of the original. So it would have been from probably the first year of Hornsby Rugby Club. Yeah, it's the original cap that they've got, and left it there. So I'll do a bit of investigating if it was the first or second year as to what it was, but that's, especially with Hornsby going into their 60th year now, that was the original cap. A couple of sweat stains on it, but still good to go, which is good. So put the feelers out there. If you got any jerseys or anything, put them on the socials. We want to hear about it. What's the story behind them?
Hey, Burner, let's get Chris Woutersz on the phone, the coach. What are you, Chris? You assistant coach, forwards? You're the main man. What's your official title down?
Chief.
Well, I can't call them the Hornsby Lions because you haven't won the. That title is still with Woy because they won the Lion off Shield last year.
That's true.
And the word on the street is, after the shock of not being called the Lions anymore, they've gone back to one of their old and being you, and you're there to help out.
Yeah, I went back last year. They had a bit of a change in coaching personnel. And then they got Tristan Jones. So Tristan Jones has been a bit of everything at the club, president. He's junior vice president. So he's taken up sort of head coach, and I'm helping him out as assistant coach or co-coach, everyone calls it. We've split up the duty, so we're both pretty happy with what's going on at the moment.
Good stuff. Now, we've got a little bit of a dodgy line, but we'll pursue it and continue on. But, mate, just give the listeners a quick history of your involvement with Hornsby.
Hornsby was my original club that I played at years ago when I first started playing rugby, I guess. They were in the suburban comp, first grade down in Sydney at that point in time. So I've been with them for a long time. I played nearly 200 games with them originally before I came up the coast. So
it must be really, I guess, fulfilling and great to sort of almost come full circle from a rugby perspective. Playing a lot of games as a player there and having some time up on the coast and then heading back down. You must have been pretty excited when they joined the competition.
Yeah, it was great when they joined the competition, although I was probably still alive to carry on at that time. So it was a bit hard. There's sort of joint allegiances with both.
Yeah.
Although I did do a year at Terrigal once, but yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah. Glad it was only a year. Still recovering.
That's good. Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate what happened last year with some coaching changes, but it allowed a few of us old blokes to get back involved with the club. So we've got a bit of a core group. It's not just me and Jonesy that have come back. There's a few others that's come back to the club to help out. So it's really good, especially this year being our 60th year as a footy club.
Yeah, how exciting.
Old blokes back. Yeah.
So how are you guys shaping up this year? You've had a pretty successful campaign at the Sevens by the Sea.
Yeah, it was a great kick off the Sevens. Thanks to Scotty's team up at the Lakes. It's always good kicks up the Central Coast comp, I guess, all season with that Sevens comp. We got a late call actually, so one of the teams pulled out, so we had to end up taking two teams up.
Yeah, good.
And obviously the first team went pretty well and finished. I think we lost the grand final in the last play.
Yeah, there you go. Well, mate, things are. Mate, you're looking strong then if you can sort of drag up another sort of 10 players. The driver had to fill a space, so congratulations on that. So you're shaping up well. How
are you going for numbers?
Yeah, numbers.
How are you guys going for numbers?
Yeah.
Obviously with the season last year, and then obviously changing coaching personnel. How's that all looking?
Yeah, we had a couple of extra changes. The second grade coaches and moved on to another club on the coast. But we're looking pretty good. We've been training solidly for probably the last month now, and getting a steady turn. I suppose anything, guys. It's like coaching our level footy. We have the core group of blokes from first grade, and then I anticipate the third graders will start rocking up once the hard stuff's done.
Yeah, it's still way too early for third
We're
grade.
not worried. Yeah, we're not worried at numbers. Got a few new pickups, a few boys coming along. Picked up a couple of leagueies from Brown. So, yeah, we're looking okay.
And there's a bit of a rumour going around that the Rock is no longer the Rock. And is this? I think every opposition team can rejoice at possibly this news, depending on what's about to come. But is it true that the Rock is no longer the Rock?
You know what, Bernard? We're a bit disappointed at the moment. Like that's what we built our reputation on. They've ripped it up in the off season, putting down a new cricket pitch and doing some changes to the oval for the cricketers. They've had trouble getting the clay they use for the cricket pitch. So at this stage, just not going back in.
They can't get it hard enough to replace what was there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it'll be a turf over hopefully soon. But it certainly won't be the Rockers.
So how was what's your interim mascot for the year until you play Woolwich again? For those of you listening, sorry, I'll just jump in. For those of you listening, last year we had a line-off when the Woolwich Lions met the Hornsby Lions. You can't have two Lions in one competition, can you, Burner? I think we established this pretty, it's pretty clear cut. There can only be one king of the jungle. And that was on the day we have an aggregate score between the women's match and the men's match. And the Woolwich Lions were victorious on the day. They have the line-off shield, which we'll try and get our hands upon and unveil it at the Central Coast launch coming up soon. But look, unfortunately, the Hornsby Lions, they're 60.
Well, they're just Hornsby.
They're just so their 60th anniversary is going to be a little bit different.
Well, it's strange because I don't know if they're going to use the line on the promotions or anything like that. But
so what are you going with then, Chris?
Well, hopefully,
have you got the draw? Actually, when do we play Woolwich? I'm not actually sure of the draw. It could be early on.
Burner will he'll chase it up mate, I tell you what, if you've got a high pressure match and you've got a massive function organised, you might need to redo some of your merchandise. So
it'll be fine. I'm not worried about that.
So whilst Burner's dragging up the draw, got any players to watch out for? Who's been shaping up well for in the bit of pre-season training? It's been difficult with all the rain, but who are we going to keep an eye out for? Who do you expect big things from?
We've retained most of the boys from first grade from last year, which is good. Another player who's come back to Hornsby is a guy called Braxton. He's a centre. He played with us a few years ago.
He's a gun.
He's been playing down at Ringa. He's come back. He gave us a really good hand with Evans there. Couldn't be on the day, but he's leading some of the training for that as well. So good getting back in the club as a player and helping out with the guys too.
Yeah, good stuff. So Burner's getting the draw up. He can give you the date.
It's taking me a long time to work Google here.
Yeah.
I don't have it handy, guys.
What do we got?
Hornsby have Warnervale, then they've got Avoca by...
Are we going to sit here while you go through the whole bloody
thing?
No,
I'm scanning through it now. Jesus, at the end. You're going to have to wait a while. You're going to have them...
It could be the unveiling of the soft rock.
It's the 21st. It's round 7.
Could be.
You got the round 7 at Woolwich Oval.
Oh, there you go.
At Woolwich.
At
Woolwich Oval. 21st of May.
Well, there you go, mate. You got 6 rounds to get your shit in order, so you can win back the line off shield, and hopefully you don't have the big gala ball before then.
And I'm hoping that COVID doesn't kick in again between now and then either.
Yeah. Oh, mate, we're all doing that.
Let's be optimistic. It's not going to happen.
No,
I'm optimistic. It's not going to happen. We're good for a season.
Absolutely. Well, mate, it's been fantastic to have you on the podcast, have a bit of a chat. Great to see that the Hornsby is shaping up well. Got a few new players and returning players, and mate, it's exciting times. Go well. And, Chris, we look forward to catching up with you on a Saturday.
Thanks, guys, and I'll probably see the season launch.
Yeah, we'll do. See you, pal. Good on you, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Catch ya.
All right, well, joining us on the line is the Premier 1 coach of the Razorbacks, Nick Meyer. Nick, how are you? And welcome to the podcast.
Good, boys. How are you?
Yeah, going well, mate. Going good.
Going good, mate. Good. How you been feeling? How you been travelling? And how are the Razorbacks looking?
Yeah, been good. I guess a long hiatus with half a season last year, so it's good to sort of get around the boys again and get amongst it. It's a bit weird trying to sort of motivate a lot of people to get back into it after giving them 2 half seasons. So
yeah, definitely.
Numbers they're increasing. They're getting better. To say we're thin is probably a bit of an understatement, but yeah, no, the old recruits are making their way back, so it's starting to look like the usual. But yeah, and we'll see how we go.
So what's obviously a bit of a change in the coaching setup with Matt moving or Matt and Ross moving to Manly? Is it Manly?
Yeah,
they're gone to.
Yeah. They're down running the Colts program down at Marlins, and that's sort of you can always envisage it in the future as a very motivated coach to go as far as he can. We wish him all the best of luck. So we sort of knew the process going into it, and I guess Brett Cunningham is the other head coach as well. Is sort of finally retired after 4,500 years of football.
Hey.
It was one of my favourites, Cunningham. I used to love. I loved about.
It's weird how you're saying used to now. I'm not.
Well,
really
he's not a player anymore, is he?
No, but I'm not willing to accept that just yet.
Oh yeah.
Mate, give it round one. You'll probably see him run around.
So when times are tough, mate. Thing I loved about Cunningham as a player, I had the luxury of coaching him a little bit at Central Coast. He was just your 80-minute man.
Yeah.
Just gave you everything. So hopefully a little bit of that rubs off from a coaching perspective. So who brings the brains and who brings the brawn?
Oh, he brings probably both.
I was going to say you bring
I bring stupid comments and the beer.
Your morale.
Positive war cries or something.
Okay, so what about so you said it's pretty much the same sort of team you're expecting as last year, pretty similar?
Yeah, pretty similar. We've lost a few, like Robbie Peter's gone to Newcastle.
Yeah, right.
To jump on the Wildfires program after his injury. So yeah, good luck to him. Matt Martin's head back to the Cats. So is what it is, and we've sort of still got Geordie Clark. Matty King's pulled his finger out. He couldn't handle a year off trying to study, so it's good to have him back on board.
Nice inclusion.
And then so Joey Bayou's probably put on 45 extra kilos and really taken on the dad bod, but he's around.
He'd be your number 8 now.
Yeah, mate, the number 8, and then probably roll into prop with the way his work ethic goes sometimes.
Keeps a bit of that agility and holding the ball in one hand and running around. Extra 45 kilos, bloody hell, it'll be a nightmare. Even worse.
Yeah, he's still pretty quick, so no, he's pretty keen. I've seen him at more training sessions probably than he rolled up last year, so it's good to see him ripping in. But yeah, sort of, I don't know. I guess you look around sort of Geordie Clark, Joey and Matty King to sort of steady the ship and keep it going. But yeah, hopefully we get some new faces have showed, and hopefully they perform and sort of jump in the bandwagon as well and get us going forward. So
yeah, it is a bit hard as well, as you mentioned. I think it's the same for all the clubs. How you had that half season and now sort of trying to drum up numbers now when the weather's what it is really hard, and especially the ground you guys have got where it's a bit harder to train. All the conditions aren't as good to train at when it's that boggy. Although it has improved in sort of
no one can get anywhere. At least I remember we can get on the Razorbacks.
That's actually true.
We can get on, but we're surrounded by a tidal creek, and it goes up and down. And to put it this way, on Saturday morning there was 2 tinnies racing up and down our field.
Fair dinkum.
Yeah,
bloody hell. Call it a moat. You have a moat around the castle that is the Razorbacks' home.
The pig pen.
It's always a good excuse to say that we're locked in and we're at the clubhouse and all we can do is so.
Speaking of the clubhouse, so that's obviously all finished, and that's all kicking along. But I've seen some stuff on the socials that you guys are having a couple of working bees on a Saturday to sort of put a new driveway in there, or new pathway.
We've put a driveway from the uni car park right through to the clubhouse, which sort of helps with some of the businesses that we have working at the place during the week. But yeah, it's just make life a hell of a lot easier for people to sort of either get down and chill out on a bit of a concrete path rather than the swamp. And yeah, it's all been done by members of the Razorbacks, which has been awesome. And especially the junior members, we really tried to get them back on board and buy into the whole ethos of the Razorbacks, and it seems to be going well. So it's good to be all sort of working together, which was really awesome.
I think everyone's shoes will thank you on a Saturday as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Absolute nightmare. But no, that's good stuff, and good to have. Obviously, you got the culture there of people helping out to do all that as well. So Yeah, things are looking good. Is there anything else you want to? Any other good news coming up? Anything else coming up with the Razorbacks?
No, I got a couple of trials coming up. Newcastle Uni, Maitland. So we'll see how we go with them, and then just roll into the season. Really, I can promise the world right now, and potentially deliver an Atlas. So we'll just see what happens.
Well, mate, fingers crossed. The weather's kind, and you can actually get a few trials underway. It's difficult with all the bloody weather we've been having, but mate, good luck. Go well. We will undoubtedly chat to you throughout the season and see you on a Saturday at the Rugby. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no worries, boys. Good to hear from you. Look after yourselves.
Before we wrap this thing up, Berner, let me unveil another sponsor to our listeners and to our viewers.
Who have we got?
Mate, the Trojan Restaurant have come back on board again this year, which we're very, very thankful for. But not only have they come back on board, pal, they've increased their commitment to us.
How good?
Well, actually, it's not to us; it's to you guys, the community. They are contributing a $50 gift voucher for us to give away throughout the course of the season.
How good?
So that is brilliant. That doesn't just go to players; that can go to you, the audience, and the participants in the podcast in our YouTube channel. So get involved, tag us in what you're doing, and throughout the season we'll be drawing people out at random. We'll drag out that our prize barrel, and so get involved with us in the socials. And thanks to the Trojan Restaurant and Bar, $50. That is absolutely fantastic. Very appreciative we are of that. That's a big commitment from them. So we thank them greatly, and let me tell you, I have not had a bad meal there, and this is not cash for comments. This has been absolutely fantastic. Food, burgers. I've never had a bad meal. It's been brilliant.
Great burgers. Great burgers. And also great burgers in a 6-year-old's voice. We're rolling with that as well. We have to.
I've just broken my mic stand.
Thank you to the Trojan Restaurant.
Thank you for coming on board.
Oh, God. I think that's got to do us because I don't know if I can go on anymore. I'm a shattered man after that.
I've got to fix this mic stand.
I think that's has to.
It's gone. Thank you. See you next week.
See ya.